All right, man. Torture Talk After Hours. You know what it is. So we're gonna check in with your boy Jalopy. Um, so basically, he's under the impression that Young Money has something big coming. I mean, who knows? At this point, I think Wayne does need some help out there because he's getting bombarded with a bunch of different people with comments on that new album. So let's get into it, man. You already know what it is. Torture Talk After Hours. All right, man. So let's get it.
Get very surgical, so stay. This video is about to get very surgical, so stay with me. But if you can't see, if you can't tell that Young Money is gearing up for something big, then I don't know what to tell you, bro. There is warfare going on in the industry to maintain or gain supremacy within the industry. I think even outside of the raps but just the power, the connections, etc. It feels like there's a race in the industry to dominate for the next generation.
Um, do I agree with this? Do I think Young Money is gearing up for something big to happen? Um, I have to wait to see. I don't think that that's the case fully because let's look at the timeline. The only thing that we can indicate is Nicki did do a remix with Wayne. Maybe she might, say something to get them back together. But personally, I just don't. I think their time is over. I don't think they like if they were to come. But I'll talk about it a little more. I'm gonna let him speak on it. Maybe he'll change my mind.
You know what I'm saying? And I think Young Money is recognizing what's been going on in this transition, right? And are planning something huge to swing the tides back in their direction. Now, I'm gonna get to my theory, but in order to understand my theory, we gotta understand a couple other things first. First and foremost, Young Money is losing their supremacy within the industry. I think this has been going on for a while, but that battle really exposed the cracks in Young Money. You see what I'm saying? To the point where the music that they've been releasing is not getting the same reaction that it usually does, i.e., some sexy songs for you, Carter 6, and really even Nicki Minaj's new remix, which I honestly didn't think it was bad. I thought she kind of washed Lil Wayne on it. But overall, what I'm saying is everybody is not reacting to Young Money music the same way they used to. They're losing the demand that they once had.
And the reason why that is, in my opinion, the reason why they're losing the demands because none of them showed no growth in their music. Lil Wayne still is rhyming words. He got bars, don't get me wrong, but he's like that old head in jail that just could rhyme and be like, yo, spit a 16. He spit a 16 for you. But that's all he can do is spit 16s. He don't know how to write music. He don't know how to actually construct a song. Not to say Wayne will do that. He do sometimes. But overall, that's all they do is rap. If you go back and listen to all their stuff, they just rap about what they have, what they're gonna get, uh, uh, just metaphors, similes. That's it. They don't actually do anything outside of now. Nicki Minaj, I will give her her props. She do have songs that have meanings to it. Drake a little bit maybe, but Lil Wayne, yeah, maybe. But she has more songs with more meaning than they do. And I will go on record and say that her albums be more diverse than theirs. Be honest with you. So I think that the reason why is because they haven't grown up with they haven't made grown music. Maybe I could say her, but the other two, no.
I think people are starting to realize how truly limited, and I know it sounds crazy to say about Drake, but I know everybody in here got common sense. So you know what I mean by limited. But how truly limited Drake, Nicki, and Lil Wayne actually are. They're very limited artistically, even though they can bounce in and out of genres, etc. Their ability to access the depth of what they're talking about, evoke real emotion that doesn't have anything to do with being jaded or trying to get revenge or anything like that, but real, raw, authentic emotion. Their ability to do these things is very limited.
Let me see something, bro. It's something bothering me about this picture. Do Lil Wayne have on a Nicki Minaj hoodie? Is that a Nicki Minaj? Bro, come on, bro. You can't be serious. That's a Nicki Minaj. Bro, what the hell? You got on a Nicki Minaj hoodie? You can't be serious, bro. Like, come on, Wayne. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping for say. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. I just think that that's weird. Me personally think I think it's weird. I think it's weird. But y'all might not, but I do.
So the music that's been coming out has been charged in those areas. So people are kind of expecting this now. Young Money is not able to deliver this. So what do they have to do now? They have to get the public's ears back on their side. And what I mean by that is whoever's at the top of the game in anything, basketball or whatever, that's what people look as the standard for, right? So now that Kendrick is undisputably, it's not a debate anymore, at the top of the game, the standard has risen. You see what I'm saying? This standard might be too high for them to reach. So what they have to do is get people back on their sides with their ears so that the standard is readjusted again. How do we...
I can kind of agree with that. I've been saying that Kendrick Lamar is the pinnacle. He is the guy at the top of the mountain. The problem is most rappers are not artistically equipped to take on Kendrick. They're not. They're not. He has displayed too much versatility. It's very difficult to defeat somebody like him if you can, because again, you just have to hope that he just stops making music or he just doesn't do anything. Because if he goes on a full-on attack on you, it's very difficult to beat him. I don't see nobody in the rap game beating Kendrick Lamar. He would just have to stop, because Nicki, he will dominate all of them, because every one of them have skeletons that they can't get around, and he will demolish them. So when we talking about them going back and forth, you notice that they ain't say his name. Like, they're not going to either. They'll talk about Jay-Z because everybody hates Jay for some reason. They'll talk about him, but they ain't gonna talk about that dude. Nope, they won't say nothing, because once he grab that mic, he start going on y'all. So the standard is very high, and I think that they can't reach that. And if they want to change the public perception and get the public on their side, that's not gonna work either, because the public perception now is the king has fallen and there's a new king. So no matter what Young Money do at this point, it's not going to change, because they would have to do something that's totally out the box and that will stick. But all of these people that's doing music right now, all of them, they don't have nothing that sticks. That's why they ain't doing nothing. That's why.
Understand that, we got to go over the history of Kendrick Lamar and Drake constantly trying to outdo each other. Drake's perspective of outdoing Kendrick was different than Kendrick's perspective of outdoing Drake, but regardless, the competition was there. To Pimp a Butterfly drop, Then if you're reading this, is Too Late drops. To Pimp a Butterfly ends up beating out one of Drake's songs for Song of the Year. I think it also got Album of the Year. It did, yeah. I think it also got Album of the Year. Drake spins the block real quick for the next year and drops Views. Views initially doesn't have a good reception. I don't know if y'all remember, but Views did not have a good reception at first. So this is where Drake might not be losing his fandom, but as far as people saying like the quality of what he's producing, people were starting to say that he's declining. This is where he's going downhill. Numbers are there. He did 1 million first week or something like that, but it's just the art wasn't received well. Kendrick Lamar drops Damn, and then it's like, okay, this is where the tide is shifting. Kendrick Lamar drops Damn, which is extremely critically acclaimed. He does a huge tour for it. You see what I'm saying? It's the biggest album.
And I'm gonna run it back a little bit, but Damn was such a it was so much of a better album than Views that I don't understand how anybody can compare the two. I mean, Views had God's Plan on it. I believe it had God's Plan. I believe it was God's Plan was on Views. No. God's Plan wasn't on Views. I don't remember what songs was on Views. I remember all the songs that was on Damn though, which is crazy. But yeah, it wasn't. But I understand what he's saying here, like how the two was going back and forth. But Kendrick always won Album of the Year over him.
Of that year, no contest. Kendrick Lamar drops Damn, which is extremely critically acclaimed. He does a huge tour for it. You see what I'm saying? It's the biggest album of that year, no contest. Double diamond song. You know what I mean? His most commercially successful album, I want to say 600,000 first week. This is when Drake, I don't know what happened, what he did or whatever, but this is the era where Drake comes out next year and is just all over your Spotify playlist. Like literally, his face was on playlists that didn't even involve him. It was crazy. I don't know if y'all remember, but Spotify 2018 was crazy. People was literally asking for a refund because of how much Drake's face was popping up on these playlists. I think it has something to do with the streaming deal that he had. You see what I'm saying? So they were pushing him in that.
I think what happened was the streaming wasn't as big and they used him to catapult streaming. I will admit that Drake is one of the guys that they use to catapult streaming, and they use his face on all these different genres because he was the most recognizable out of all the artists at the time. You know what I'm saying? From all genres, he was recognized. His face was recognized. Drake was like Nintendo, like he was like recognized. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they put him on all these playlists. Wasn't that they put him on all these playlists, but they also put him on the playlist so people can actually want to get it because of this, even though he's not country. But it's like, oh well, because it was like they wanted people to stream the music. You know what I'm saying? Now I think it was wrong that they did that because what's the point of you doing that? But they was trying to make Spotify. Spotify was trying to blow up streaming.
Way, it's like I'll do this, you do that type of thing. Now Kendrick didn't really drop an album besides like, you know, the Black Panther album, but that's more like a soundtrack. So he didn't really drop another album until Mr. Morale. You feel me? Mr. Morale ended up being the highest grossing tour of all time by a solo rapper. You see what I'm saying? He ended up breaking Drake's record, as a matter of fact. The very following year does the All the Blur tour with 21 Savage and J. Cole. You see what I'm saying? This ends up breaking the record for Mr. Morale's tour. So this...
You know the crazy thing is, I hate when people do this, right? Because they try to say that this tour here broke Kendrick's record. But Kendrick Lamar went on tour with Baby Keem. So we just going to say it was Kendrick Lamar because it was Mr. Morale tour. It wasn't Mr. Morale and Baby Keem. It was Mr. Morale. This tour right here was a Drake tour, and it had two other people on the tour. Two other people. You know what I'm saying? So I guess if you want to say it's Drake tour because it says Drake and 21 Savage, but the Mr. Morale tour was different. So in my opinion, I mean, he did outsell it, but I'm looking at it like, well, it's not a comparable tour because number one, Kendrick tour was by himself and he had 3 or 4 people on the tour. So, but I mean, that's just my opinion.
This is all just to tell y'all this is the history of them trying to outdo each other. And we gotta talk about the Super Bowl announcement. Kendrick Lamar gets announced for the Super Bowl, and Young Money as a collective has a meltdown. Young Money as a collective has a meltdown. Even Nicki Minaj is on Twitter wilding. Even Nicki Minaj is on Twitter wilding. You see what I'm saying? Birdman posted these niggas pussy, YMCMB. I make these respect us. Blah blah blah. Saying Jay-Z is a hater. All this different stuff. Nicki Minaj, Drake, every.
I just don't, and I look at this tweet and I don't understand why Birdman would say something like that. I really don't. Knowing the history and all the things he did to Lil Wayne, I just don't understand how he can fix his fingers to even type something like that. I know a lot of y'all niggas be high as hell. This is crazy to me.
Everybody's going crazy, and this is where my heart was broken because I'm like, my goat, one of my goats. This dude get on an interview. He's basically or video. And he's basically crying about not getting accepted for the Super Bowl. And I understand the Super Bowl's huge. It was in New Orleans too, but you were not guaranteed that. So him doing all this was crazy. But if you understand, based on everything we was just talking about, it makes sense. They have to steer the public opinion back in their direction. What's a better way to do it than to create the pity party? You see what I'm saying? And this is coming from somebody that I'm a fan of Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne, but we got to keep it real. Fast forward, and Kendrick Lamar and SZA are dominating the records. They're dominating the records with the stadium tour that they're doing. Sweeping this shit. Sweeping it. You see what I'm saying? And that leads me to my next point. We're talking about the Carter 6, right? And it got a horrible reception. Horrible reception when it came out. I mean, it's a horrible album. That's how I feel. You see what I'm saying? But Lil Wayne fans were still on it, regardless. They're being loyal. Nicki Minaj drops a remix on it. Nicki Minaj gets on Lil Wayne's track as a remix. Interesting. Not only that, she disses Jay-Z. She disses Jay-Z, bro. Like, listen, pay attention.
I don't understand why these rappers put themselves in these positions. The Super Bowl is over with. Business as usual. Business goes on. Leave it alone. But rappers have such a big ego, and they destroy their credibility and everything. Nicki Minaj, Jay-Z will annihilate you. I don't understand why you even going out your way to even jump in this. And I understand what point he's making here. I understand it.
Talking about the Super Bowl should fire them and hire us. All of this, Drake is supposed to be dropping an album this summer. Getting music from Drake, Wayne, and Nicki Minaj all around this summer area. Right? Interesting. I think Young Money is about to do is come together, release a project, right? And go on a Young Money reunion tour to outdo the Kendrick Lamar and SZA tour. That's the only way for them to get back on the record books. How much y'all want to bet? How much y'all want to bet? I want to give it a year and a half maybe. A Young Money reunion tour is going to take place, and they're going to do it to get back on the record books and push Kendrick Lamar and SZA out the way. Will they be able to do that? I think they could. Young Money, Nicki Minaj, and Drake at their peaks. As of right now, I don't know about all that, bro. It ain't. I don't know. I think Lil Wayne. It's tough to say, but I think they definitely could do some stadiums. All three of them, I think they could do some stadiums. It'll be tough to break these records, bro. We talking about they doing a stadium. Kendrick and SZA doing a stadium every other day, every 2 days. I don't know, bro. It's gonna be.
Yeah, make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel. It's right there on the page. What do I think? Do I think that they can do it? I'm gonna be the first person to go on record and say no. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna tell you why I don't think that this is gonna happen. If it does happen, it's not gonna be this year or next year, maybe year after next. I think that they will use that as a last resort. Number two, I don't think Drake is and I know everything seems like it's lining up in a perfect position. Wayne drops an album, then Drake drops an album, Nicki drops an album, then they do a tour together. Like, I look at it from this point of view. Kendrick Lamar and SZA is in such a powerful position. I just don't think a Young Money tour would deter people. I think people are gonna look at it, but I think they do have a lot of fans, but it's not gonna be where it's like everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to go see them. I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always gonna be on their mind. And on top of that, Kendrick is still active. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all go subscribe to this channel. All right, peace, bye.